Hi, I'm Josh. I'm going to walk you through this timeline that's on our GHS 210 project about the Haitian Revolution. I just wanted to run through this timeline just in case you'd rather have somebody uh, talk to you about it instead of reading through it on your own. This is a timeline about the events during the revolution. So we'll start shortly before the revolution, sort of the beginning point, and all the way through with Haiti gaining their independence. So let me exit out of these things real quick. So it starts on October 21st, 1790, with the Ogue Rebellion. Um, a representative from the colony of France leads a revolt against the white colonial authorities in Saint Domingue. A man named Jacques Vincent Ogue marches a group of 300 fully armed people of color into Grand Riviere in hopes of taking the city. So this is really the first active revolt, organized active revolt in Saint Domingue, which eventually becomes Haiti. Following that, slaves began to mobilize 10 to 15,000 slaves in different cities around in the colony. Start to mobilize, and at that point, nearly half the province in is participating in some sort of armed rebellion. September of 1791, the National Assembly very briefly grants citizenship to free blacks. White planters aren't happy. Tension grows, and eventually, only 4 days later, the decree is actually revoked by the National Assembly, which results in just even more tension and uprising from rebels. On that same note, in October of 1791, Le Cap and Port-au-Prince are burned to the ground. 80,000 of the 170,000 slaves in the North Province are part of the rebellion at this point. So it's really full-fledged. Lots of slaves are involved in this rebellion. In May of 1792, this becomes an important piece of the Haitian Revolution, that Spain actually declares war on Great Britain and France in May of 1792. So um, this really starts to come into play, as you'll see in June. In June of 1792, the French cry out for help because while they're in this war with Spain, slaves are revolting in Saint Domingue. So the French guarantees full rights and freedom to all slaves if they agree to side with the French and defend the foreign and domestic enemies of France. As a result, in 1793, a general emancipation is issued abolishing slavery in the North Province of Saint Domingue. More slaves are free than ever before at this point, and that's the way that would be the point where most slaves are free until they gain their independence in 1804. In February 7th, 1794, there's a new work code handed down, giving slaves that weren't freed, that weren't in the North Province, a third of plantation revenue and a day off. The everyday life didn't really change, but they had that some of that revenue and a day off. So after the war, in 1795, July of 1795, the France really regains control of Saint Domingue. The colony is back under the French control. The French aren't really worrying about as much, and so new commissioners are sent to Saint Domingue. Just want to touch on Toussaint Louverture. He really becomes, in 1796 and 1797, the face of the slave rebellion. One of those names that lots of people remember, like Paul Revere or George Washington in the American Revolution. In 1798, Louverture actually signs a secret treaty with England and the United States, just even more highlighting that trying to separate themselves from France and signing these treaties with other powers around the world. In July of 1801, Louverture issues a new constitution and is named the Governor General for life. Slavery is abolished forever, and the Constitution eliminates social distinctions of race and color, stating, quote, all individuals be admitted to all public functions depending on their merit and without regard to race or color. However, there's a catch here. Saint Domingue is not, they're not free at this point. It's still recognized as a French colony, so technically they are still under that control. In October of 1801, as a result, Napoleon Bonaparte sends his brother Charles Leclerc to lead an elite French army of 20,000 European troops, and that's in 1801. And that 20,000 troops is successful in 1802. Louverture's There's a warrant out for Louverture's arrest. Um, Supposedly, Leclerc said Louverture was offered a compromise, allowing him to retire and just basically go away, and nobody would talk to him. However, Leclerc had tricked him, and the French arrested Louverture in April of 1802. As a result, rebels all over Saint Domingue were really mad about this. Leclerc's efforts to halt the uprising failed largely in part to yellow fever, which began to spread around Saint Domingue, infecting many French soldiers and generals, and Leclerc himself actually dies to the fever on November 2nd, 1802. After Leclerc's death in 1803, the French gradually lose control of this colony. Troops retreat from their posts. A new Haitian flag is born. Really, the downfall in terms of the French control of Saint Domingue. And in 1804, after over a decade of fighting, there's officially independence in Haiti, um, marking the world's first Black Republic in January 1st of 1804. This was the first time that a couple of things. One, marking the world's first Black Republic, but also this was truly the first slave revolt that actually resulted in independence. The American Revolution was not really based on slaves, but based on the colonists. In Haiti, it really was the slaves, the white people in positions of power in Saint Domingue they weren't upset with their situation. It was the slaves and how they were being treated. So they were the ones who fueled the fire and really had the momentum for this revolt. And after a decade, ended up in independence for the people of Haiti on January 1st, 1804.